Times?
Now, the Ghanaian Times is reporting this morning that Motorway part of Accra flood after downpour, and again should be the key word there. Man murders wife in Dansoman, and that terrible story is on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. Attempt to topple government, military accused of abusing rights of the accused in this case, and the president slams Nigeria border closure, says is setback to ECOWAS integration project.
The Daily Graphic. Money laundering. Yoko bus woman in $313 million. Raymond, that's a lot of money, right? $313 million. Yoko have busted the woman. Adopt current methods for collecting data on productivity. That's an expert urging West African countries. Expected increase in tertiary education numbers. Student loans request seed money from government. Back page of the Daily Graphic. Late penalty saves day for Kotoko. And be bold to report online sexual predators. That's a youth being advised.
Let's go online for the headlines there. The top story on myjournal.com says 80 teachers flee in Kwanzaa North after horrific murders. Nat is speaking there. Rawlings urges Kandapar to resolve advocates' challenges post-dismissal. And also, there's also a number of interesting stories here that I'm going to share with you in just a second. Dutchman 69 launches legal battle to lower his age by 20 years so he can get a date on Tinder. It has become serious. Loneliness can kill you. You laugh. Okay, citynewsroom.com. Kumasi Central Market floods, choked drains, vomits garbage after downpour. Highways Authority diverts traffic after another landslide on Ibri Road. Okay. That's all on citynewsroom.com. And I'm going to go to starfm.com.gh, where it says floods submerge Accra, Kumasi, high risk of corruption in Ghana's defense sector, according to a report. Closure of Benin border, a big blow to ECOWAS. Akufo-Addo speaking, and coup plotters in quote accuse military of invasion of privacy. All right, so let's get to the details. And I think the flooding from yesterday is the biggest issue, isn't it, Raymond?
Yeah, it is actually. So what was big about it is because both sides of the Accra-Teba motorway yesterday was overtaken by some ravaging floods due to that downpour. Of course, we're told that traffic was brought to a halt on both sides, and that's where the problem. Mostly one side is problematic, the other side is actually supposed to be filled with a lot of goodness and traffic moving. There was an accident there. We know that there was no casualty in that particular incident, but the accident resulted in a fractured leg of the driver driving the minibus that was involved in this accident. But we all know that this started right from the morning. We saw pictures when people were complaining about water gushing from certain quarters and filling the roads, and they couldn't move, and the traffic became very heavy. Cars were basically not moving. People were redirecting others using alternative routes, which also became very problematic. So we know that the Tetakwashi Interchange, Spanner Junction, and the former Shangri-La Hotel close to the Accra Shopping Mall was also somewhat flooded, and the traffic there also became very, very heavy. I do recall that on June 3, 2015, when that massive incident happened, that was a major flooded area, that Shangri-La place. I know a friend whose car got stuck there for God knows how long. He had to abandon the car because he feared for his life at the time and had to run back home and come back. He couldn't save. Actually, he couldn't get the car back. The mechanics tried everything they could do, but the car still is not on the road as we speak today. But that's not the only place that this incident happened. The airport junction and the 37 hospital bus stop areas was also affected. We understand that the Ghana Police Service had warned the general public and motorists applying the Accra motorway to be cautious during the process. And the flood has also caused gridlock on some other places. But I'm going to list places that equally had terrible situation because of the flood. Greater Estates, Alajo Kotobabi, Nana Chrome, Baleshi, Community 18 Junction. We also know that Adringano. So we keep adding, and I've done this before here, we keep adding fresh places to places that are being flooded every single time.
You are saying new parts of Accra are joining the list of flood-prone areas.
Yes, and we are watching it. We are keenly listening. Every other time, we keep updating the list. More places keep joining. Others actually go on retirement for a time and resume being flooded. And we just are watching and folding our arms and waiting for the entire city to be submerged before we are convinced.
In some, we are not finding a solution.
It's obvious on the ground, isn't it?
And
But
this
this-
is the result of our inability to find a solution, Malik.
But
the
this-
motorway is flooded. If you are trying to use the motorway either from Accra or Tama, just don't. It's so flooded. Cars can't go. Every driver is scared to cross. Cars cannot go. Motorbikes, everybody's parked. And it's traffic. I've been in for an hour from Tama, an hour and a half. And this was the cause, the flooding.
Just a little minute of downpour. Look at what is happening to our motorway. Cars can't cross. People are stuck.
Very unfortunate situation.
Then when I got those videos, my first instinct was to say, oh, this can't be Ghana. Until I listened to the sound. When I listened, I put in my earpiece and I listened to the comments that people were making. That's when I believed that, wow, that was the motorway. Because it was just a large sea of brown water with debris in it. And you couldn't imagine that this was happening in the capital. But of course, it's not only in the capital that this happened yesterday. In Kumasi as well, several parts of the Garden City were flooded. Roads were completely submerged. Houses were completely submerged. I had a conversation with Erastus this morning. He says too many parts of the Garden City were ravaged by the floods yesterday. He's out this morning to try and gather some material so that we can understand how much damage has been caused by yesterday's torrential rains and the attendant floods.
Now, let's move on to some other incidents happening elsewhere. And here in Accra, too, there was a murder incident that you should know about. Residents of Shaibu, which is a suburb, a small place within Dansuman, were thrown into a state of shock after a man is said to have killed the wife in cold blood. And this happened yesterday. Now, the gentleman's name is Prince Kole Commodore. He's 48. He was reported to have stabbed his wife, Dr. Sanaefi Commodore, several times with a kitchen knife in their room in the presence of their two children, who are both age 5 and 8. Now, the Ghanaian Times reporter who later went to the scene said the suspect after the act drove the children out and locked himself in the room with the body of the dead woman. Now, the couple, both traders, reported to have been married for 9 years, but they've had some disagreements over the period. The news of the death of Dorcas brought large crowd to the scene because people were wondering what really had happened there, because the kids were telling them stories that they couldn't believe had happened within. And since the door was still locked with the man and the body there, they then had to force open this door to be able to access the place. The Dansuman Divisional Police Command confirmed the tragedy, and they say that they are continuing with the investigation. The man is in their custody as they have it to be, and already people who know the couple have been saying that the disagreements have actually led to them splitting and coming back consistently, and it doesn't look like these issues were resolved. I was talking some days ago about how not only psychological but mental situations are so much rife in this country, but we don't need to have structures to deal with it. So you ask yourself, how many clinical psychologists are on call every other time that I can call to speak to? I'm not saying speaking to pastors is not a good thing, but it looks like most of us will have to resort to our, what they call it, spiritual heads to deal with psychological problems, which is really destroying many families. And this is a very terrible incident.
Did she have a place she could report to? I don't think that this is something that's
I've been asking myself that
out
question.
of the blue.
Yes.
Because listen
apart
to
from
the
Dovsu
description.
and the police, but these people will fix the criminal part.
Yeah,
I'm talking about having to deal with psychological problems in not only marriages, but also people's domestic situations.
And you're just talking psychological problems. Remember the gentleman who was accused of being the prime suspect in the murder of Sergeant Michael Jamasi and Lance Corporal Awal Mohammed at Budumbram near Kaswa in the central region. That's Eric Kojodua. Eric Kojodua's lawyer yesterday told the Kaneshi Magistrate Court that he does not think that the gentleman is sane enough. So he wants psychiatric examination on him. He says he cannot imagine how a normal, sane Ghanaian would take a gun and follow two police officers and kill them in the manner in which police prosecutors describe that Eric Kojodua killed these two police officers. It is for that reason that he's demanding psychiatric examination of the person. You have to remember that the lawyers always talk about compus mentis, that a person has to be mentally sound in order that they can stand trial. If a person engages in criminal conduct and they have not understanding of the ramifications of their conduct, then you cannot hold them criminally liable for their behavior. Therefore, sometimes when you don't trust the person's sanity, you conduct a psychiatric examination on them. That's what the lawyer is advocating for. But of course, prosecutors disagree with him. They say, look, this gentleman is perfectly normal, and prosecution is led by ASP Sylvester Asari, who told the Kaneshie District Court, Magistrate Court, that look, this gentleman is perfectly normal. There's no basis at all for this request for psychiatric examination. Of course, the Magistrate Court agreed with the prosecution and overruled the request for any psychiatric examination.
Forgive me, are they able to do the independent determination of the psychological state of anybody in court? Are they able to do that?
Oh, normally they will go to the psychiatric hospital for the examination to be undertaken, and then the results will be sent to the court for.
So since it didn't happen in this case,
how did they come to that determination is your question.
Yes.
And my question is also for the defense attorney. Why didn't he do an independent evaluation and present that as his evidence?
But can he have the person before? I mean, he cannot go to the custody and say, give it to me.
Yeah, because the person is.
And let me take the person to the hospital and go and do my own evaluation.
No, but listen, aren't there ways that can be gone around? Can't you go, for instance, to the prison with a psychiatrist? I am worried that on mental health day, on mental health day, we found that every 40 seconds someone commits suicide.
Yeah.
And we are not having this conversation enough, Malik.
In fact, the lawyer actually says that he thinks he has known this suspect for a long time. He thinks that the suspect's death, the suspect's mother's death, may have affected him mentally. But let's stay with the court. Remember the teacher who was killed, the 57-year-old teacher who was killed at Esiakwa Salvation Army Basic School in the Eastern Region, George Somwa Bosompem. Now, 6 boys were picked up by the police in connection with that suspected murder. Now, the 6 of them, according to the Daily Guide newspaper, the Attorney General's Department has endorsed the charges that have been preferred against them, murder charges preferred against them by the police. And the 6 of them are Richard Amening, who is 18, Miracle Emmanuel 19, Philip Cordier 19, Ofe Frimpong 19, Ezekiel Buedu 20, and the last one is Evans Abwaje alias Ortega 19. These are the 6 persons that were suspected to have played roles that led to the death of this 57-year-old teacher, and then they are now standing trial. Their lawyer, Peter Nimo, was advocating that they should be tried in the juvenile court. But the court said that they have gone to the schools of these guys, their former schools, taking their registers and found out that the date of birth of these 6 is radically and fundamentally different from the ages that they gave to the police when they were arrested. And therefore, they are not minors and will not be tried in the juvenile court.
All right, so we wait to see what that update will be. Really.
There's an update I need to give you on Men's Gold, which is important.
Yes,
anyway,
yes.
Yesterday, so many people gathered at the various offices of Men's Gold. In fact, at Osu, Mile 7, Medina, Awoshi, and they were there because there was a release put out there to them that count for verification. You know, some time ago, the Education Ministry used to do that in a lot. Let's verify before we pay.
Of course.
Yes, Men's Gold is now going through verification before payment. And that you bring your documents and say, I placed this amount of money here. I went through the process, and this is the amount of money that you should be giving me. Then they'll check. As of midday, MFA Dradosi was at one of the centers and reported that 500 people have been verified. Now, the people said, we'll buy our own chairs. We'll sit there and wait. If it's going to take us the whole day, we'll still be there. Some were worried about being left at the mercy of the sun, even though the weather changed along the line. Other places, they were left at the mercy of the rain, rather.
Yeah.
So they are willing and able to go through these torturous moments just to get their money. Some of them are saying that, we know that this is part of your antics. Don't you dare take our data once again and come and tell us that you don't have money to pay. So far as you are going through this process, you should be able to pay us. We also know that the man is standing trial. So many charges have been preferred against him, and he had to go through the court processes. He struggled to secure bail until the terms were changed along the line.
And what is happening in these centers where they've had to use their own money to rent or hire chairs to sit on is it's a complete departure from what used to happen when you went to Men's Gold office. There were comfortable lounges where you sat in and you had people come and attend to you. You bought your gold, you went to their offices, you paid, took your papers, and you walked out comfortably. There was proper security checks for everybody.
Another thing that has changed is the attitude of the customers. Remember, it's at Men's Gold East Legon that unfortunately Karen Dodu was attacked.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's at Men's Gold that, and it's funny, MFA in her report was able to identify the same people who were coming at her.
Yes.
And you could see the entire demeanor has changed. There was a woman who last year was asking him for how much she makes in a month. And
that she gets more.
Yes.
In fact, as even the extra money she gets from men's goes more than that. So you can sit home, she'll be just be watching TV and be getting more money.
Exactly.
Time changes and
I remember when we were doing the story, somebody sent a tweet to ask whether I was jealous of the amount of money people were making. And then Dennis showed me the tweet. Dennis showed me the tweet. But let's stay with money.
Yeah.
Yoko have busted a Chinese woman. This woman, according to Yoko, they suspect that she's been engaged in money laundering between 2011 and 2019 this year. The total amount of money involved here is $313 million. According to Yoko, this woman came to Ghana in 2010, obtained residence permit, and then she uses all kinds of companies to raise this amount of money. She opened an account actually in May 30th, 2011. The police say that they have found that she's lodged 154 million Ghana cedis into this account and $12 million also into the same account. Now, this money, when she lodges it there, she then converts with the connivance of the bank. She converts the Ghana cedis into dollars, and without proper documentation, she's able to ship this money out of Ghana into China. And the investigators believe that she's actually taking money from other Chinese in Ghana, and then she's using her accounts to try and convert this money into dollars, and then she will wire it. So that's why the Yoko is engaged in this investigation.
And if she does 300 million, let's say, every single month, you know what that means? We are actually going to suffer. Our city is going to suffer a lot.
This is, but of course, this is between 2011 and 2019.
Okay,
over a period of
a very long
years,
period.
Yeah.
Yes.
But 313 million is still not small money.
Yeah, you
Not
remember the
at
amount
all.
of money we required for the LLA, BSA, the
Yeah, it's
long
350.
conversation about PDS.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
350.
Can you believe
Is
that?
that the reason why the whole
No,
government-
$300 million
Yes.
can pay for a year of free SHS.
313 million.
Yeah, so
Yeah, Charlie, people are. Anyway, let's go to the online news review. But before we do that, a very special happy birthday to you, Dr. Mrs. Mary Chinwihesi. She's the board chair of Zenith Bank.
okay.
Yeah. So happy birthday to you, my man. You are the pioneer board chair. So this is from all of our friends at Zenith Bank. On the occasion of your birthday, we wish you the very best life has to offer. And above all, we pray for God's manifold blessings upon you and all you hold dear. For management and staff of Zenith Bank Ghana. The online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goyle Good Energy. Now, Goyle, your trusted indigenous and number one oil marketing company, says Ayiko to our numerous customers. Your loyalty to the Goyle brand has been rewarded again. We are now CIMG Hall of Fame Petroleum Company of the Year. After 3 consecutive years of success, we dedicate this award to you, our esteemed customers whose loyalty to the Goyle brand we cherish. Always visit any of our 380 plus service stations for quality fuel, lubricants, and unmatched customer service. Buy Goyle, Go Ghana, Goyle Good Energy, Goyle Yenara Yeddia. Now travel, shop, pay, and live light with Zenith Bank's wide array of electronic banking products. Whether you are a corporate entity or an individual, Zenith Bank has an electronic product suited for you. Sign up today for Zenith Bank's electronic banking solutions and enjoy the convenience of banking on the go. Go light with Zenith Bank. It's faster and smarter. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. More room for talks is on myjoyonline.com. Ekufuado on Nigeria border closure. StarFM.com has high risk of corruption. We brought you that story earlier. CityNewsroom.com, building project on Abri Mountain to blame for rockfall, according to the Highway Authority. BBC.com, dozens of inmates escape prison in Nigeria. You know why this story is very interesting, guys? It was after heavy rain that the prison collapsed in Nigeria. And so 150 people actually escaped from prison.
Prison break.
Yes, so it's a prison break like Sona. You remember season 4?
They said they may have arrested about 50 of them, 100 more are still out. They don't know where they are.
People run away from prison and allow
They
themselves.
are
to be
enlisting the
arrested.
support of local hunters to arrest them.
They are not Michael Scofield. They are not. No, but you see, the thing is that heavy rains is not limited just to Ghana and its effect.
Because climate change is not limited to Ghana alone.
Super. Which is why when the Ghana Meteorological Agency joins us today, we must ask those hard questions.
But Daniel, one more story I heard this morning which kept me thinking was the Grenfell Tower fires,
Yeah, the Grenfell
in
Tower.
which the 72 people died.
Yeah.
You know that the investigation report is out. The fire service have been blamed for not evacuating the building quickly enough, which is the reason why these deaths occurred. When did the June 3rd disaster happen? 2015. Where is the report?
We have a recommendation, except of the recommendation being put out there, yet to be implemented for the avoidance of that.
The cylinder recirculation module.
Yes.
Hey, I interviewed the was it LPG Marketing Companies Association. They are saying, Charlie, they won't support the thing, because they are saying that there are a lot of infrastructure that needs to be
Put in place
before they can. Even the piloting, which was supposed to take place this month. I interviewed them on Newsdesk last Friday.
Yeah.
They're saying that look, they are not ready.
Anyway,
They're not ready. Anyway, let me say happy birthday to Ava Beatrice Bedu of University of Ghana Basic School. You're in class 5 and you're 10 years old today. Hey, that's a smart girl. 10 years in class 5. From your parents, Dr. and Mrs. Isaac Bedu of University of Ghana, Legon. Ava, live to be 99.7 and even more. It's also your birthday, Parkway Yankee, board chair of Sun Assurance Company Limited. Happy birthday to you. We're going to take just a few messages. We'll be right back.
Good energy powers